Dear learners, welcome to the first week of this 12-week course on science communication, research productivity and data analytics using open source software. The lecture in this week are divided into two parts. So the first part is focused on the basic of the science communication, why scientists need to communicate, what are the different avenues available to communicate the science and the key attribute associated with them. In the second part, I'll be discussing about open science. So after completion of this week, you will have an understanding of what science communication is, what are the channels and their structures. You will be able to distinguish between different channels of science communication. So this is a foundational block that will help you in correct assessment of the research productivity. So let's start the first lecture of this first part of this week. So science communication comprises of two distinct but interconnected concepts, that is, first is science and then second is communication. In simpler words, science is defined as the pursuit of knowledge, whereas the communication is art of sharing the message. So we will first briefly see what exactly each concept is, and then we will move to the whole concept of science communication. So let us first see what communication is. So the word communication is originated from the Latin word communicare, which means to transmit or to share. Communication is just a process of transferring information from one individual to another. So let us understand this whole communication process through this illustration. So let us assume that on the left hand side this is a person A, and on the right hand side there is a person B. Now person A want to share the message about the tree with the person B. So person A want to share the message about the tree with the person B. So firstly, person A encode and frame this message about the tree and uses the appropriate channel. Say for example, in this case, let us assume that person A uses the verbal channel. So using the same channel, it transfer the encoded message of that tree to person B. So person A so the person A transfer this encoded message to person B through verbal channel. So as soon as person B receive the message, if person B perfectly decode this message about tree, then it is said to be a successful communication. But if any case this encoded message about the tree does not reach to person B, or person B receive the partial or distorted due to various reason of noises, then it will be said that successful communication does not occur between both the person. So this is just the basic idea behind the concept of the communication. Let's move to the another concept of science. So what science is? So the word science is originated from the Latin word scientia, which means knowledge. So if we define science, it is the pursuit and application of knowledge and understanding of the natural and social world following a systematic methodology based on evidence. Okay, so if we see this definition has three key parts. So the first part is the pursuit and application of knowledge. So this is the first part, which means accumulation of knowledge. So knowledge is accumulated. The second important part is knowledge of what? So this is about in the world we are living in. So this is the second part. So this is the second part. Now the third part is which knowledge? The knowledge which is created using a systematic methodology having the evidence. So these are the three key parts of science. Now, and this is why throughout this course, when we refer to science, it does not only mean physics, chemistry or biology, but it also include applied sciences, social sciences and humanities. So science has been the driving force in the progress of the human. The advancement in the science has significantly enhanced the quality of human life. Take the example of medical imaging. X-ray, ultrasound, CT scan, these are helpful for diagnosis and treatment of disease. Another example of GPS, global positioning system. We use from ordering food to booking a taxi online, we use this global positioning system, and it helped in improving communication, navigation and weather forecasting, impacting various aspects of our daily life. Now take the another example, refrigeration. Refrigeration is another application of science which enhance the storage system. So now food can be stored for a longer time. So the application of science is everywhere, from finances to behavioral studies to group dynamics to policy and welfare schemes. All this scientific research helped humans lead better lives. So recently we have seen the COVID-19 pandemic, and there, from testing to vaccination, all this could be possible due to the advancement in the science. So this list of examples and application of science are long, and where you will find various applications that had an incredible impact. So as we have discussed above, one has to follow the systematic methodology. So this is the important part, that one has to follow the systematic methodology for the creation of the knowledge. So this systematic methodology is known as scientific process that is followed for generating the new knowledge. So let us now see what this scientific process is. This is just a whole scientific process. So these are the 6 key steps in the scientific process, and we will discuss each of the steps. So the first step in the scientific discovery starts with the observation of the phenomena. All facts related to those events are carefully observed and collected. This step is a foundational step for the whole scientific process. So once scientific observation have been done, the scientists formulate questions and make assumptions and testable hypotheses that guide the research for further steps. So this is the second step. So in the first step, we observe the phenomena. So we collect all the facts related to that phenomena. And in the second step, based on those observation, we formulate the research question and hypothesis. So in the third step, with the research question and hypothesis, the scientist plans the whole experiment, how to do the experiment, like what all will be the variable, the tool to be used and all those things. Okay. So once the whole planning is done, in the fourth step, the scientists start the experiment. So the scientists start the experiment with collecting the data pre-processing, data analysis, testing the hypothesis, and carefully observes finding of the each research question. Then in the process we move to the next step, in the fifth step, where based on the experiment, scientists draw a conclusion and note down all the research results. After detailing the results, theories are formulated. And in the last step, scientists share all these findings, the whole knowledge about the phenomena, with the outside world. So this is the sixth and final step. So if you see, in this whole scientific process, it comprises of 2 sub process. So the first sub process is these 5 steps. So this is first sub process, and this is the second sub process. The first sub process is from step 1, from observation to the results, to the step 5. So the last step is the communication of the results. So these communication of final results are considered as the essential parameter for evaluation of scientific productivity. So this course is all about the second sub process of communicating the scientific results, and we will be discussing only this part in this 12-week course, how results are communicated, what are the different channels, and how publication of these results are considered for the evaluation of the scientific productivity. So what is this last 6 step? We will see. We will first focus on this 6th step in detail, then we will go ahead for understanding the different channels of communicating the results. So we have seen in the last slide that scientific process for creating the new knowledge is a rigorous uh, and it requires huge effort and infrastructure. And after this much investment, if this new knowledge is not shared or used for solving the problems, then there is no use of that knowledge. Okay. So let us understand this with the illustration. Okay. So on the left hand side, assume this is a scientist A, or maybe there are like group of people on this left hand side. On the right hand side, this is a B group, maybe like this is the external world. Okay. So now this group have discovered some implication of this particular tree X, which can be useful for treatment of, say for example, disease Y. Scientist A does not communicate this to anyone, to the outside world. So the outside world will remain unaware about this knowledge. So the whole society will not able to take the advantage of what the group A has identified, the possible implication of the tree X. So take another example, like if the physical nature of different waves had not been shared with the outside world, how would medical imaging have been possible? So this is why science communication is essential, not only for the beneficial of the society, but also for the advancement in the science. We'll see all those reasons for communicating the science in this lecture only. Let us first define what science communication is. So science communication is the process of dissemination of knowledge generated using scientific methods to expert and lay people in an easy, accessible way. So if we see this statement, it has four key parts: purpose, what, whom, how. Let us see each part in the statement. So the first step is the purpose of the science communication, which is dissemination of knowledge. So now we know the purpose. Then the second part is which knowledge. So the knowledge generated using the scientific method. So this is the second part of this definition. Then okay, now we know the purpose of science communication. Also we know the kind of knowledge to be shared, the knowledge which is generated using scientific method. Now the third part is to whom to be shared. So this is the third part. So this is the third part. So this is the third part to that it should be conveyed to experts and the lay people. Here expert we mean the scientific community or the subject peers, and the lay people represent the general public. And the last and the important part is how to do that. So it should be done in an easy and accessible way so that concerned can get to know about the discovery. So this is the fourth part. So now let us see, let us understand the different components associated in the science communication with another examples. So in a science communication, these are the three key components. So this is the first component, which is known as the messenger of science, and it includes two groups. The first group is the scientist. So let us assume this is a group, first group. So this is a scientist group. And then there is a so this is the first group of scientists and their team who send the message. Then the second group is an outside world, which include expert and other people. They receive the message. So these are, let's say for example, the outside world. So this is group 1 and this is group 2. And the second component is knowledge, which scientists create in the lab following a scientific process. So the second component is the knowledge which scientists create in the lab following a scientific process. And the third component is channels. It represents the various mediums and the scientific community uses for communicating the findings. It includes from traditional print and broadcast media to digital platform and social media. So, so the first group who send the message generally follow a anti-clockwise approach. So, they first create the knowledge and then select the appropriate channel to disseminate the knowledge. However, the second group, which is the outside world, they follow a clockwise approach to access the knowledge. So they first select the channel to know about the scientific discovery and then they access the knowledge. So let us now understand the motivation behind the science communication by the vowel analogy formulated by Burns and others two authors in the 2003. So they defined science communication as using skills, media activities and dialogues to produce one or personal responses to the science, and these responses are awareness of science and enjoyment or other effective response to science, interest in science, opinions and understanding of science. So the first is the awareness of science, enlightening of the people on different aspects of science to motivate people to attain scientific literacy. This could be done by conducting science related events, highlighting scientific achievement and emphasizing the role of science in everyday life. Then the second response is enjoyment. You know, enjoyment is generally considered as the key motivator for doing things continuously. So it is about the feeling of satisfaction in the discovery of new finding to the problem and sharing with the community. So the third response is interest, where the person have voluntary or non-voluntary interest in science. And the fourth is the opinion. So effective science communication help addresses misconception and misinformation and building trust in the science. So to take the informed scientific opinion, science communication is to be done. And the last response is understanding. You know, the knowledge is huge and continuously evolving. So one has to go by step to understand the application of knowledge. So science is communicated to understand the science. So these are the 5 responses which are formulated by these author in the 2003. So these are awareness of science, enjoyment, interest in science, opinions and understanding of science. Now questions come, why we need to communicate the science. So there are various reasons for that. Some of the reasons why science is to be communicated are presented in this slide. So we will see each of the reason one by one. So the first and the foremost reason for communicating the science is to share the findings of new discovery and what all are its implications. The second is science is dynamic in nature and no knowledge is static. So it is continuously evolving. So it helps in connecting the dots of previous research to look for the advanced solution. So the third is to receive the expert opinion and validation of the findings by the peer, which enhance the reliability of the scientific work. So say for example, somebody has formulated some theory based on their results. It should be tested by some another example and it should be like tested by the experts. So this is why peer feedback and validation is required, so that the authentic knowledge is disseminated. Then it supports the development of new technology, products and services that solve the problems and help in effective decision making. So another reason for communicating the science is to engage the public in scientific activities and enhance scientific literacy and temperament that will help in making informed decision and mainly combating the fake news, the misinformation and also that can be tackled down if the science is communicated in a better way. So another reason for communicating the science is to inspire and motivate future generation in excitement and relevance of scientific exploration, so that this process of new advancement and exploration of science can continue. Okay, so to motivate the future generation to engage in exploring the new findings through their research. And the last possible reason is to receive the appreciation for the scientific discovery made, so that good research can be rewarded. So there are can be other reasons for that, but these are some of the key reasons why we need to communicate the science. So for an effective science communication, every scientist need to prepare answer to these 6 questions. So these are what, why, when, who, how, and where. So the very first question is what, which gives the understanding of what need to be shared, what part of your finding to be shared, whether you want to share the whole findings or the part of that findings. Okay. Then the second question is why. Why is it important to know about your findings? Why is it important for the community? Why it is important for the community to know about your research? So whatever you are planning to share, why it's important for the outside world to know this finding. Okay. Then the third is when to share this knowledge. Okay, when exactly you want to share this knowledge. Either you're in between the research or in the after the results, or you want to see more implication on, you want to see more testing on that. So it gives the understanding that when you want to share those results to the outside world. Then the fourth is who should be, who should this knowledge be shared. So it gives the idea of target audience. So who are the people who will be benefited with this knowledge what you have created. Okay. And the fifth question is how this knowledge will be shared, which channel is to be selected for sharing the knowledge, either written, verbal, or anything else. And the last question is where. So where knowledge will be shared. So if a written channel is selected, whether it will be a journal, book, or a social media post. So this is how answering to this 6 question helps in communicating the science in better way. So various channels are available for the scientific community to disseminate the science. Some of the popular channels are listed here, like journal, conferences, symposium, seminar, books, thesis and dissertation, patents, lectures, reports, and policy documents. So, and in recent time, with the emergence of internet and the world wide web, other outlets like different website, blogs, social media platforms like Twitter, LinkedIn have been popular among the scientific community to disseminate their research. So earlier there were no metrics or data source available to capture these online attention of research dissemination on the channel. But some metrics like altmetrics have also emerged in recent time that track down these sources. So we will be discussing more about altmetrics in the upcoming weeks. So, but however, most of the science is communicated through publishing in these channels only. So these are the channels which are preferred by most of the scientific community to share their research findings. And one of the reason is that these channels are also mainly considered by many of the organization and ranking agency for evaluation of scientific productivity, for recruitment, promotion, and granting the funds and all. Okay, so I will stop here, and I hope you have enjoyed this lecture. Please let us know what is your motivation to communicate the science. Post your answer in the discussion forum. In the next lecture, I'll discuss the different channels and the key attributes of each of the channel. Thank you.